Okay, we're live. You just wait a minute for people to get on and
yeah, just so cool. Look at this. It looks like somebody stole those.
Yeah, they did. Stole the Navy and looks like the Air Force.
Who would do that? Doesn't that just break your heart?
Yes, it does.
You know? Okay. All right. Richard, what was your last name again?
Jones.
Richard Jones. And can I see your book real quick? First of all, Duck Dynasty. Well, we're in trouble now, except for he's a professor wearing a Duck Dynasty hat. That ought to tell you something about this guy. But Richard Jones, I saw him in this coffee shop at Enchanted Grounds Espresso Bar, where we met these nice young ladies who chose family over the corporate life to be a service to their community. And it was just, you know, we're over here in front of the BFW Hall, and we look down and we see, lest we forget Korea. Over here is lest we forget Vietnam. Over here is World War II, and over here, World War I. Now I got to tell you, these are people that paid prices with their family, their children, their lives, things that our children today have no comprehension of. It's just a game on a video screen. It's not real. And lest we forget how real this can be. And I walked by and I saw that Richard had a book called Pursuit of Honor. And I just couldn't help but introduce myself. And then he started to tell me a story that I thought everybody should hear. And it starts off with his history. And would you share that, Richard? The Korea start there, and then this thing about the professor.
Well, perhaps I better begin by the fact that I was born and raised on a farm in Iowa and worked like a man from the time I was 12. When I was 17, I joined the Corps.
Marine Corps?
Marine Corps, and went to
Marine Corps.
Korea. Left active duty in '56. Left early, so they gave me an early release so I could start college. I was going to go back in the Corps, but when I was in my senior year, I met this woman. And
Well, that could change things.
Always a woman.
It's always a man. Changed direction, so I decided to go into academia. Graduated, taught in a high school for 4 years while I got my master's, and I got a job in college. And that's what I retired from after 29 years.
And that was Russian language?
No.
Russian history.
Russian history.
History. And European history and British history. And so on. So I retired in '93. Moved here in '97.
From Iowa to Raton.
Well, my last job was in Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota.
But that was all right. Good hunting, good fishing.
So you said something that I thought was interesting. You said, I'm a recovering.
Yes.
Yes.
Recovering from having been one.
And what does that mean exactly?
Well, it just means getting back to reality.
I love that.
Yes. The stuff that's real.
Yes, it is.
And you mentioned something about our country, and one very specific word was, you're looking back with the history and knowledge and depth of understanding that you have about the world history, especially in the last 75 years or 100 years, and saying, looking back, man, was it worth it? And because you know the price that was paid, lives
Yes.
upon lives upon lives, and pain and suffering by despots and all kinds of bad guys that want our freedom. What makes it, when you even question, was it worth it? What makes you think that?
Well, I only think that on occasion when I see or hear some of the activities and expressions that are going on. But I am an optimist. I don't believe God's going to let this country fail.
And that is our core point. Richard, raised Baptist all your whole life?
No. Lutheran.
Lutheran?
There's no Lutheran church within reasonable distance. So.
Yeah, so Christ is a fundamental point of reference, which we know
Yes.
most of the kids in the world push that aside like some crazy story. But the reality is, we hope to prove in the next 2 years that every word that Christ said can be scientifically tested. And part of that scientific truth is, you bring 100 people in a room and you test it, or 1,000. We think we can actually prove that 1,000 people had hope at least once in their life. And we're pretty sure about that. And
I
since
still
well, and he
much.
still does, and as an optimist, not an optometrist, although that's pretty good because he could see a long ways, right? As an optimist like we are, we believe that freedom wins. That's our core statement. Freedom wins. We start with being freeborn. Paul said, "And I was freeborn." The chief captain answered, "With a great sum obtained I this freedom." Big old fat guy, about ready to die, and Paul's in good shape from sharing the message. Says, "And I was freeborn." So we start freeborn. We learn from this great teacher. You know, we like to call him Bob, because if you call him Jesus, it upsets people. We say Bob's a really smart guy, but he's got a competitor. His name's Rob. He likes to rob you of everything in your life.
Yes.
So Bob and Rob. If you learn a Bob, life gets pretty great. But you just can't take a word for what it is. You've got to stop and say, what does that word mean? Like the word free, like the word love, like the word faith, like the word hope, like the word redemption. You can't stop. You got to look technically, what does that word mean? And then come back to what's the reality of that word. And here's a man that has lived that reality and seen those lives pass, and believes that at the end of the day we overcome all of this. Isn't that right? And then without that hope, what do we got? We got little boxes where everybody's going in a box, and your freedom is taken from start to finish. What like I'm trying to do now with robbing Social Security and all the different things that are happening. And who's going to listen? If we don't go to our fathers, these men with gray hair, and say, "Fathers, teach us this way. Thou shalt love thy mother and thy father." That goes deep. That goes deep. And if you don't respect them, how are we going to know those answers? And honestly, this guy, being a retired professor, a recovering professor, and taking a moment to and go on this is, you know, everybody knows YouTube and all this other stuff's dangerous, but I don't care. We're here, and I hope to share the story. I don't even know how many people can read that book now, but
A lot of them.
well, it's good. That's good. And so, Richard,
I was
thank
gonna-
you.
I was going to say, when it looks discouraging, I think of George Washington, Valley Forge. I think of Sam Houston after he got news of the Alamo. Did they give up? No.
Wow. Yes.
They figured their cause was worth it, and they kept at it. Most other people would have said, "No, that's enough."
Every champion you've ever known or read about was that way. Endured to the end, didn't quit, and we got to believe this freedom wins, and we got to believe that. Right now, there's a massive move to steal our children, in my opinion, from just what's being taught, taking the realities out of the world, and now hopefully, I hope we do our job. We're riding bikes at 3,166 miles. Matthew here, Mateo is 16 years old, and he not only does all this schoolwork online with us, and we monitor all that every day. When he's done, he rides 31.6 miles with us, and actually shows us up. He's a little punk, but we'll take him. We'll take him. And thanks to guys like you, we don't have him going into wars at 18 years old. So, you know, without his choice, right?
Well, I did it by my choice.
Oh, that, and most men did. They went up and said, "Let's go stop this. Let's go stop this thing." And it looks, you know, like right now with China and Korea and Russia, there's a lot of stuff going on. I think the ISIS guys, that's one thing, but there's some real military guys out there.
Well, it got me off
Power
the
up.
farm.
Got him off the farm.
You know, people say, "Well, gee, wasn't boot camp tough?" And I said, for the 11 years previous to that, I got accustomed to getting up early, working hard, and being yelled at. And I didn't have hogs to feed.
Yeah. You know, yeah, that professorship looked pretty good, didn't it? A different kind of hogs,
Well,
right?
Military looked pretty good.
Yeah,
But that's that.
Yeah. So, Richard, thank you. I can't say enough. Thank you. It's a
you're
pleasure to
certainly
know
welcome.
you.
Thank you,
And
Richard.
Thank you for
That's me.
the
to
service
know
is
you.
one thing, but sharing that message is incredibly valuable. and hopefully that'll translate to some kids' ears or somewhere where they're ready to listen.
Well, I have 2 daughters, 4 grandchildren, 2 grandsons, 2 granddaughters.
They might see, but I'm gonna ask one last question, and this is a hard question. What does freedom mean?
Freedom means to go to live within the parameters that God set, without hurting anybody else in the process.
I like Jefferson's statement: if it neither breaks my knee or robs my wallet, let him be.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
If you don't hurt me or rob it, then it's good to go. I'm gonna give you that. Right? And there's our Facebook and Born 26, so you get to see this stuff.
Oh,
Show
thank
your
you.
kids. We got another 65 days on the road, and we're meeting folks hopefully that will share
Fort
stories of
McHenry.
what the reality is. Fort McHenry, Maryland.
Yes.
We've got we're a third of the way there, and let me tell you, some of those bike rides are cold and snowy and rainy, and other times it's down hills where there's no place to get off the road. And even this old man here hit a wall once. Those bikes don't stop as fast as cars do. So
No, they don't.
I had a chance to taste some reality myself. Oh, one last thing. Can I get you to sign? Because just anywhere on here, here's this deal right here. I'll hold your book for you. Thank you there. Matthew, hold these for Richard, would you?
I'll hold them. Here, you take it.
Put it anywhere you want. Anywhere that's easy, doesn't matter.
Oh, Josie, I'm not very sharp this morning.
Well, you're a recovering professor. I don't want to give you an addiction here. I don't want to start give you your first drink back in. What were you in the military? What were you running? SGT right there, Marines. I'd have that. And the year.
What's that?
I love it. And one of my dear friends, here's your book and keys. One of my dear friends is named Randy Jackson. I call him RJ. So I'm gonna call you RJ. I met this crazy dude in Raton named RJ. Tried to get him to share some academia, and he just threw up on the sidewalk. Said, "No, I've had enough of that." Sounds close.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Well, I acquired in Korea. I acquired a nom de guerre, war name. I was
I get it.
it was Perro Rojo.
What's that? Oh, he speaks
Red-
Spanish.
Red dog.
Red dog.
Okay, so spell that for me.
Now, how'd you get that name?
I was afraid you'd ask that. All right, I was my main duty was reconnaissance sniper.
Wow, that's what his
Had
dad
a-
did
Had
in
a
Vietnam.
probably had a Remington 700 in 308.
Yeah, 308.
Well, I had a Springfield 1903 World War I Springfield with a Weaver 4X scope on it. And we'd come upon this Chi-Com unit, and it's about as far as from here to, I'd say, see that just beyond the post office building, that black car, the two lights in the grill,
Yep.
Okay. It's about that far or so. And a spotter, I was a corporal then. And what we decided was what we believed was the officer's latrine, which was simply a trench
Yeah.
with a log on the length of it with tripods
Yeah.
on the ends
Mm-hmm.
and a curtain in front. Of course, we viewed the back. Now here comes this officer
Oh no.
who, from the insignia, he was a major.
Hey, Matthew, close your ears. We don't want you to hear this.
At any rate, he sat down to do his duty, and I had in a Springfield and a bipod. And we estimated the range, and I was going for a headshot.
Yeah.
Had the crosshairs about, let's say, a foot above the head.
Yeah.
Well, I pulled the trigger, and by the time the bullet exited the muzzle and got to the target, he stood up, got him right in the ass. And the impact tipped him, so he fell into the trench.
Oh my gosh.
So
So that's your nickname.
So the guy that was my teammate, he was Hector Barrientos from Eagle Pass, Texas. He's Pedro, Red Dog, shoot him in the ass, Jones.
That's a great story, man.
That's great.
Oh, that's a 300-400 yard shot, isn't it?
Oh, it was at least 4, I'd say.
I can't
Okay,
tell.
now that woman walked by, yeah, that's about,
Yeah.
magnify her 4 times.
Yeah, it could be 400. That could be 1,200 feet. Yeah.
By the time the story got around, it was more like 500. But
Yeah.
I know different.
Oh, that's ridiculous. That's awesome. Okay, so you got to tell me how to spell Pedro Arrojo.
P-E-R-R-O.
Okay. P-E-R-R-O.
Space R-O-J.
R-O-J-O. Pedro Rojo.
Living around here, 60% of the population
1,200.
in this town is Hispanic.
Okay.
Brad spent.
Oh, don't. Come on now.
Oh, it's a shot of coffee. They don't know. This helped me remember. He.
Somebody who knew me or knows me
Yeah.
might see it.
Well, that's
Say,
good. That's good. Brad
No, what's
spent 2 years in Bolivia.
okay.
Speaks the Spanish forwards and backwards, and so he knew when you said Pedro Arrojo.
Very good.
Yeah, Pedro Arrojo. All right. Well, again, I ever come back through here, I'm going to look you up.
I'm in the phone book.
I'm definitely not going to hide in the woods wondering if you got a scope on. You might know what you're doing.
Oh, I do. I shoot prairie dogs
Yeah.
quite a bit. Usually, again, there's a lot of exaggeration, but most of them are within about 3 to 250 yards.
What rifle are you
Something-
using?
I have 3. I have 2 Savage 12s, one in 204, one in 223.
223, yeah.
And then I have a Les Baer custom on an AR-15 platform. That's advertised that they'll group less than 1 inch at 100 yards right out of the box.
Yeah.
It's true.
Wow.
I had to test them on that. And I have identical scopes on all 3.
Wow.
So I just had to, one gets hot, pick up another.
You know, so I have to
Continue to
assume
march.
that you're definitely a Second Amendment guy.
Oh, ho, ho. NRA life member of the Reddington Center, and other affiliated clubs.
Yeah.
And
Well, let me tell you, on percentage-wise, how many professors do you think are part of the NRA?
dang few.
Dang few.
Yeah. That's about all I can say. Well, let's see. In my faculty, there were 3 out of 30, maybe,
And
if that.
now on there, the reality of war, the reality of people that don't care how you feel or think. How many professors do you think actually know what the reality is versus what they think it is?
Fewer yet.
Fewer yet.
Yeah.
And of those fewer yet that's actually been to war, know what the reality is, how many of those do you think are NRA members?
I don't know.
Probably all of them, right?
I
I
would
don't-
suspect.
Yeah, I've been shot at twice by strangers. Once the bullet just went between my arm and my body, and it was because I had a 9mm that stopped the guy from coming after me. He's actually going after my little brother, a total stranger. He was beating up some gal, and my little brother tried to help her, and he went and got a gun. And we stopped him, because they don't care.
No.
No. So I it's an amazing story that's going on, and just be even sharing this, man. I promise you, there's people like, oh my, you would kill a prairie dog, you would eat
Oh,
a deer,
Oh, ever. On the farm, see, I think I was 12 when I started. For Thanksgiving, we wouldn't have turkey. We had wild game harvested right in the farm.
Yeah.
Pheasant,
Sure.
venison, gray squirrel,
Some of the best
cocktail
hunting
rabbit.
is up in Iowa and Missouri in the world.
It is.
Beautiful. The food is, the taste is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hunt it, shoot it, dress it out, butcher
Yeah.
it, cook it yourself.
And don't
mix-
waste it. It was there.
Oh, no.
It was there for man. So, all right, Will. So what Baptist church? So we'll give your Baptist church a hit. What's the name of the church you go to here?
First Baptist.
First Baptist in Raton. Is the only Baptist church here?
No, there's 2 or 3 of them, I think.
Okay. Well,
There's
first,
2.
and what's your pastor's name?
Crottinger.
Was it
Crottinger. Mark Crottinger.
Mark Crottinger? Okay.
And then Rob Mays is the associate.
And Rob Mays.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, doing their part, keeping us all lined up, right?
Right.
Keeping hope alive.
Right.
And what do we hope for? Keeping freedom free.
Exactly.
So,
Well, I have places to go and people pray.
okay, yeah.
Better get
So
going.
better go grade some tests. Let me shake your hand one more time.
Okay.
Thanks, man. Appreciate your time.
Thank
and
you,
I
Richard.
love the stories, man.
Thank you.
Thank
This is
you.
really cool.
Appreciate it.
All right,
Never
we're-
expected to do this morning when I hit the floor.
and we never expected to
Hit the
meet
deck.
you either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's our bikes here.
Yeah, I noticed it.
Yeah. Yeah. We try to pick up a little litter. My son's the Nationwide Dumpster guy. We pick up a little litter everywhere we go. If people just pick up one bag a week, these roads wouldn't be so nasty.
Yeah, terrible, especially during the tourist season.
Who would throw their trash out the window? What's wrong?
People that aren't from here.
Yeah.
That's kind.
Yeah. Okay. All right, man.
Or as one of my acquaintances, well, I'd say he's a friend. He said, Yankee Gringo Turistos.
I don't know what any of that means. Taco burrito. That's what I heard. That's what you heard.
Yankee, Anglo, not Hispanic, tourist.
Oh well,
Yankee Gringo Turistos.
Turistos. Okay, now I got it.
That's the kind of litters the place.
Well, Richard.
But they leave a lot of money here, so.
Okay. So that's one thing. Thanks, Richard.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
Thank you. Thank you for signing this bus.
All right, have a good day, Richard.
Thank you.